it, I ain't never gave a damn. Live my life getting rowdy, got bourbon in my hand. You can call it what you want, this is who I am. Ain't no doubt about it, I'm just a sinner, man.
That's a long story. When I was 6 years old, my sister died in a car wreck. We lived out in this little country town called West Louisville on the outskirts of Owensboro, about 15 miles. I went to this little Catholic school, maybe 50 people in the whole school. After she died, I was acting out a ton. I was, my mom had me in therapy. I was getting kicked out of class daily. My parents didn't know what to do with me. So they took me out of that school and they sent me to Faust in Owensboro, which anybody that's familiar with Owensboro knows Faust is an inner city school in Owensboro. So needless to say, I was this little country kid. And I walked in my first day and I stood out like a sore thumb. Let's just say this. I stood out like a sore thumb. I was literally probably one of the only white kids in the school. And I just remember kids beatboxing in the bathroom and rapping. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. I'd never seen that before. So immediately I was intrigued. And then I remember my sister taking me to see Breakin', which was a breakdance movie from the 80s. And after I watched that movie, I was trying to break dance everywhere. I mean, like, just the culture of hip-hop, I don't know, I was just so intrigued by it. Even, like, the first time I saw the movie Juice, that was the movie that made me want to be a DJ. I was sneaking into my sister's room. She had this big Pioneer stereo with a record player on top. And I'd sneak in her room, take her LL Cool J record, put it on the record player, and chicken, chicken, chicken. I mean, it probably, but trying to scratch and everything, man. So, like, I don't know, like, the culture just, like, really just, like, spoke to me, and I was just so in awe by hip-hop music. It first began in 1999. I was looking for an outlet for my stress. I just broke up with, like, my first love. And at that time, she was my world. I thought my whole life had ended. I was acting like such a little bitch. But my best friend, D-Trick, had gotten a computer and a little microphone and a little mixer. And he started working on his first solo album. And I would go over there night and day and help him make beats and whatever else with, like, acid loops. We had no idea what we were doing, but I fell in love with it, and it was like my therapy from that point. Honestly, like, I grew up loving hip-hop. So I was like, well, if I'm going to be in music, I need to be in the background because nobody wants to see a country boy rap. So, and I was always influenced by, like, Rick Rubin and Dr. Dre and Timberland and producers like that. I was more influenced by the producers than I was, like, the rappers. So that's what I wanted to be, was a producer. Tupac Shakur. I mean, he could make a party hit and then turn around and make you cry. Like, the emotion he put into his music, that's why he's as great as he is, because nobody could put that kind of emotion into a song like he could. I guess it was about 2012, and at the time I was working with an artist named Rakim. When he moved to Lexington, I really didn't have any artists to work with. So it was like, what do? I was running the studio. the studio wasn't doing that great. There wasn't a ton of local rappers coming to the studio at that point, or local musicians, period, because I was open to everybody. I was at this tipping point where go get a real job or become the artist and try to make something of it. So I decided to give it one last go and be the rapper, be the person I never really wanted to be to begin with. Well, when I looked at doing my album, I didn't want to be fake. I had always wanted to do an album with live instrumentation. Like, I just love the sound of live instrumentation. I wanted it to be hip hop, but I grew up loving country, rock and roll, heavy metal, and I wanted every aspect in that album. I wanted it to touch on everything that I liked in music. Wanted it to be 110% me, which is bourbon, broads, and beats, so that's how it came about. I think Bourbon Blues is not only my favorite song off that album, it's probably my favorite song I've ever recorded, ever written. It's a story of how, like going back to where we said, I lost my first love and I was looking for an outlet. Well, when that breakup came, I started diving heavy into drinking. So it was a true story from that first love to shit, every love I've lost after that. It seemed like the only thing I had after that breakup was music and bourbon. To be honest, like when I did Bourbon Broads and Beats, like I wanted to touch like that country rap market a little bit, but I didn't want to be considered hick hop. I didn't look at myself as, a redneck rapper. I'm just a guy from the country that loves hip hop music. When Bourbon Broads and Beats took off, and the country rap fans really grabbed a hold of it and really took me in, it kind of changed me a little bit, and it kind of changed like the music on the second album, because I wanted to make some songs for them. I mean, there were songs for me, but then there were songs that I was writing for my fans, if that makes sense. I guess what pleases me the most is the fans and how I've watched it grow from, you know, nobody, a couple of friends around me telling me that I shouldn't rap, to where there's people all across the nation that, really like Franklin Embry music, I mean, it does something when somebody sends you a message and tells you how their music has helped them, so I'd say like that's the best part of it. I'm gonna try to be a little bit more visible, you know, more videos, maybe more YouTube vlogs. Probably going back to my hip hop roots a little bit more. Maybe with the next project, I've got literally 50 songs in the works that and I'm deciding which direction like the project is gonna go. But I don't know, like with this album, I really want to pay homage to the people I grew up listening to. The music industry is tough, and it's really tough without a team. When I went out on tour solo my first time, which was 2016, I was on the road by myself. I was setting up my merch by myself. I was performing on stage by myself. Unless I went somewhere and, was performing with like Southern country music, then I had DJ Kane and Banyan like DJing for me. But for the most, I was out there alone. Luckily, a good friend of mine from back in the day started coming back around, Chris Shawn, and you know, he was like, I want to go on the road with you. I want to be your hype man. I'm like, well, come on, buddy. Let's do it. Jamie came along and she wanted to help me with merch and booking and other stuff. And I was like, more the merrier. And then, of course, Chris Ewing, who did a lot of work on Bourbon for Breakfast. I didn't want it to just be Franklin Embry. I wanted to give, everybody that was a part of it their moment to shine, if that makes sense. I've always been somebody that, I want everybody to shine. I don't want just me to shine. I want everybody around me to shine. So I was like, well, Franklin Embry and them Bourbon Boys, because I want my team to shine just as much as me. www.franklinembry.com, and that will link you to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, my YouTube. You can I've got a video section on there. You can watch all my music videos. Hope to get more vlogs up very soon and have a vlog section on there. But yeah, franklinembry.com.